Nielsen took a minority investment in OpenSlate towards the end of last year. We're incredibly excited to have the partnership in place. Mike Henry, our CEO, to his credit, has always said that he aspired for OpenSlate to be what Nielsen is to audience. We aspired to be to content. And so to have formed an initial partnership with them and then have the minority investment come through has just been incredibly exciting. And in the past 4 months, we've really dug in with their teams across various different teams internally, their commercial teams, their product teams, and we definitely see opportunity across the board in terms of, if you think about the intersection of what Nielsen brings to bear around their expertise and common scoring for audience metrics and what OpenSlate brings to bear around our scoring and standards for how content is valued, the intersection of those things, you can imagine, to a marketer starts getting really interesting, right? Where Nielsen can talk to them about how audience impacted performance. We can talk to them about how content impacted performance. And the ideal situation long-term with the partnership is hopefully we're able to add those things together. So we're really talking about attribution, the contribution of content, the contribution of audience as it relates to outcomes for marketers. The roadmap with Nielsen is really promising. There's some nearer-term opportunities we see with what they provide, the metrics they provide for audience, and some of the metrics we provide for content, and how we could represent those side by side to clients. Much longer term, there's definitely opportunity if you think about what advertisers yearn to understand about what drives performance, what drives outcomes, and a world where Nielsen could be able to tell them how an audience impacted performance and how we could tell them how content impacted performance. That starts getting incredibly interesting. We've had one client call that's Utopia. So we're not quite at Utopia just yet, but we've got some nearer term opportunities that we're really excited about.
So JoAnna, could you explain what you do around content, sort of what that looks like?
Sure. So Mike Henry, our CEO, started the company 8 years ago with an idea that advertisers and marketers were going to need to be able to understand what quality content looks like when it doesn't just look like what we were used to seeing on television. And so we've developed an entire scoring and content rating system that allows us to place value on content, and in particular where our expertise lays is across the social video platforms, where quality is much more difficult to discern, especially if you're a marketer, right? The average media buy on a YouTube or a Facebook runs on hundreds and hundreds of thousands of videos. And so for a marketer to make any sense of what the nature of the content was where they ran is incredibly difficult, impossible. And so the company was founded, and the work we do today is to help the world's largest brands understand and take control over where their ads are going to appear on those social platforms, and then certainly understand the nature and quality of the content where they appeared afterwards.
And I know there's you guys are talking about extending that beyond social, in other words, content by publishers and perhaps by programmers. Mm-hmm. How might that develop?
Yeah, it's a great question. So expansion opportunities for us abound. We're in great conversations already with additional social platforms as well. So we're already on YouTube and Facebook, as you know. We're in talks with multiple other platforms, and hopefully we'll have some news for you on those in the coming couple of months. With regard to publishers and programmers, there's multiple opportunities that we're starting to see. They're starting to get pressure from some of our largest clients who want to be able to use a consistent way of scoring the content across the social platforms and across the publishers. So they want a single way of being able to evaluate the quality of the content. So we're starting to have publishers come to us, even incredibly high quality publishers and programmers come to us to get OpenSlate ratings and scores so that they can represent the quality of their content back to those advertisers. So it's a really exciting time for us, as we've been long on the buy side for years, and we're really pursuing this year in earnest the opportunities we have to work with publishers and programmers.
And JoAnna, we had a very active CES just a couple weeks ago. It seems like a year ago, but it was just a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Some takeaways from the industry, some impressions you had there.
Definitely. CES is always a gauntlet. So it's always tons of meetings in rapid succession. I think for us, the opportunity is always to compress those conversations. And I think some of the common themes that we saw is, as the industry prepares for a world that is less dependent on audience and less dependent on cookies, how OpenSlate plays a really critical and pretty unique role, given that our entire business is about content analytics and using content as a way to figure out how to reach audiences and how to place brands in the right environments. So it was an incredibly exciting CES for us, if not exhausting, and we look forward to the next industry events.